You fall asleep without a problem, but almost every night, somewhere around 3 or 4 a.m., you're wide awake. Your mind is already running through tomorrow's obligations. Your heart rate is a little faster than it should be. You lie there for an hour, finally drift back into a shallow, unsatisfying sleep. And when the alarm goes off, you feel completely wrecked, even if the clock says you got 7 hours. For years, I thought this was just a nuisance. Then I started tracking my own sleep architecture, and I saw the pattern clearly. The damage isn't from lost minutes. It's from losing a specific critical phase of sleep, one that concentrates in the final hours of the night, right when your body decided to betray you. That phase is REM sleep, and it's not just any phase. It's the one your brain uses to strip emotional charge from memories and consolidate what you learned. Lose it, and you don't just feel tired. You feel emotionally raw, foggy, and older than you are. The culprit isn't your mind. It's a timing glitch in your cortisol awakening response, a hormonal clock that's supposed to rise at dawn, not at 3 a.m. And that single shift makes a 3 a.m. awakening fundamentally more damaging than simply going to bed late. Now, cortisol is not your enemy. You need it to wake up. In a healthy rhythm, your body starts increasing cortisol slowly in the final hour of sleep, and it peaks about 30 to 45 minutes after you open your eyes. That surge gives you alertness, energy, and the cognitive push to start the day. But in a phase-shifted rhythm, common in chronic stress, irregular schedules, or just the wear of midlife, that cortisol rise begins much earlier. It can start climbing at 3 a.m. instead of 6 a.m., and when it does, it crashes into your REM cycle. Here's why that matters. REM sleep is a deep brain state. Your eyes are moving, your cortical activity is almost as high as when you're awake, but your body is paralyzed. Cortisol acts as a potent disruptor of REM. It can shorten or entirely fragment those episodes. And here's the cruel detail: the longest, densest REM periods occur in the early morning hours. That's precisely when the misaligned cortisol surge hits, so the awakening isn't random, it's a biological collision. You're not just waking up, you're being chemically ejected from the stage of sleep your brain needs most. Tomorrow morning, try a small diagnostic. When you wake at 3 a.m., notice, are you instantly mentally alert, heart elevated, thoughts racing? Or are you groggy, struggling to open your eyes? If it's the former, it's a strong signal that your HPA axis is already releasing cortisol hours early. And that's a very different problem from just poor sleep hygiene. It means your brain's restorative machinery is being sabotaged by its own wake-up signal. I've had patients tell me, it's like my brain is trying to wake me up on purpose. They're not wrong. The biology is trying to prepare them for morning at the wrong time. So the first thing you can do is send a clear timing signal to your brain. The single most powerful lever is morning light. Within 30 minutes of your actual getting up time, not 3 a.m., expose your eyes to bright outdoor light, even if it's cloudy, for at least 10 minutes. This activates the suprachiasmatic nucleus and anchors the cortisol rhythm to a later point. It's like telling your internal clock, this is when morning starts. Do it consistently, even on weekends. Over days, the cortisol surge can be gently pushed later, out of your REM window. Now here's a twist that most advice misses. Losing sleep at 3 a.m. is worse than losing it at midnight. If you go to bed late, say 1 a.m., your REM sleep is still front-loaded toward the early morning, but you'll still get some of the later REM cycles. The architecture is compressed, but the REM component isn't stolen, it's just shifted. When you wake at 3 a.m., you're robbing the richest REM banks of the night. It's like removing the final, most valuable chapters of a book. Your brain loses emotional processing, memory consolidation, and synaptic pruning that only happen during those late-night REM episodes. That's why, after nights of 3 a.m. awakenings, you might notice you're more reactive emotionally, your problem-solving dulls, and your sense of perspective narrows. The total sleep time on your tracker might look fine, but the quality of the remaining sleep is hollow. Now, what's causing this phase shift in the first place? A big contributor is the stress system itself. Chronic stress, emotional load, and high sympathetic tone can sensitize the HPA axis. The hypothalamus releases corticotropin-releasing hormone earlier, the pituitary releases ACT earlier, and the adrenal glands pump out cortisol prematurely. Other factors: eating a large meal too close to bedtime, which keeps core body temperature high, using alcohol, which initially sedates but later causes a rebound sympathetic surge, and inconsistent sleep-wake timing, which confuses the master clock. Even something as simple as checking your phone at 3 a.m. can trigger a stress response, reinforcing the early cortisol surge. So beyond morning light, here's a two-step protocol to begin recalibration. First, pick a non-negotiable wake-up time. Even if you slept poorly, this might sound harsh, but it stabilizes the circadian system. When you wake up at the same time every day, you train the cortisol rise to align with that moment, not 3 a.m. Yes, you'll be tired initially, But over about a week, many people see the 3 a.m. awakenings diminish. Second, create a wind-down protocol that signals safety to your nervous system. 2 hours before bed, dim the lights dramatically. Avoid problem-solving or stressful conversations. Consider slow diaphragmatic breathing for 5 minutes. If the mind is racing, try a cognitive technique. Write down the thoughts, close the notebook, and physically put it in another room. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about downregulating the amygdala's threat detection, which feeds the HPA axis. For those who want to add a nutritional layer, some early evidence suggests that phosphatidylserine, a phospholipid, may blunt the cortisol response when taken in the evening. Typical studied doses are around 400 to 600 milligrams. But this is not a prescription, and the evidence is still emerging. Ashwagandha root extract has also been examined for cortisol reduction, but the quality of supplements varies widely. These are not first line. They're optional probes you discuss with a clinician who knows your full picture. Now, a deeper layer. Some people will try all of this and still wake at 3 a.m. Why? Because the circadian drive for REM is so powerful that even a slightly early cortisol curve can punch through. In those cases, the missing piece might be pre-sleep body temperature regulation. REM sleep is exquisitely sensitive to temperature. A small drop in core body temperature helps initiate and maintain. If your bedroom is too warm, or if you exercise late, or if you're in perimenopause, your body temperature may not fall enough to protect REM. This is another variable that interacts with cortisol. The combination of a misaligned cortisol surge and insufficient nocturnal cooling is like a double hit against REM. So consider lowering room temperature to 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, using breathable bedding and avoiding exercise within 3 hours of bed. If you track your sleep with an Oura ring or a similar wearable, look at your REM duration and timing. Many people with this pattern see very little REM after 4 a.m., even if total time looks okay. That's a proxy for what's happening. You could also try a salivary cortisol test kit. You can order them online and measure cortisol at bedtime, 3 a.m. and upon waking. A spike at 3 a.m. relative to bedtime confirms the phase shift. This moves you from guessing to diagnosing. So where does this leave you? You're no longer someone who just counts hours and blames anxiety. You're someone who understands that your body's most precious restoration phase is being interrupted by a mistimed chemical signal, and you have a clear sequence to push that signal back where it belongs. Start with the unshakable wake time and morning light, then add wind-down temperature control. If you're doing this right, the 3 a.m. explosion will start to soften. And when you finally sleep through that window, you'll wake up feeling not just rested, but emotionally lighter, mentally sharper, because you've finally let your brain do what it was designed to do: clean house while you sleep. There's still a question I haven't fully answered. What happens if the phase shift is so deeply embedded that even these tools don't bring it back? That's where chronotherapy and possibly low-dose timed melatonin or targeted bright light protocols come in, but that's a conversation for another time. For now, you've got a map to protect your most valuable sleep.